Okay, Bob. So you're now live, and I've made Kim co-host.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Harry.
You're welcome. Have a great class. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. I'm just going to put up the cover slide, Kim, until people join us, okay?
Okay.
Okay, because we're live streaming now, and you never know who might be watching us live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any more classes today?
Yes, I do. I'm with the Sue later around maybe 7 p.m. PST or 8.
Okay,
Yes, but on their time, it's around 10 a.m., 10 in the morning in Australia.
right, right. Yep. Okay, we should get people joining us very soon. If you would manage the waiting room for me, I would appreciate it when we get started for Zoom virtual backgrounds for beginners. It seems to be a perennially popular class, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Don't forget to click the record button.
Excellent. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Do that now. Excellent. Welcome, everyone, to Zoom virtual backgrounds for beginners. We have Kim from Get Set Up as our teaching assistant today. So welcome to evening for some of you, afternoon for some of you, maybe even morning for somebody. You never know. Never know. So we'll give people a minute to start to join in, and we'll get started with Zoom virtual backgrounds for beginners. Anybody trying to remember some? Oh, Patty, you've got a great virtual background already. What do you need the class for? Don't forget to unmute yourself.
I really need the class because I have no idea how that got there.
Oh,
It was just a nice little blessing. I don't even know what that is.
one of these technology surprises you got, huh?
Yep, nice little surprise there. I'm trying to figure it out on my glasses. I'll figure out what that is.
Okay.
If it's a picture that I put on there or if it just appeared.
Okay. Okay. The computer gremlins got to you somehow, I guess, huh?
They blessed me this time.
Yeah, really, really. Okay. Well, we'll give people a minute or two to join in here. We've got quite a good turnout tonight. Hello, Yvonne. Yvonne was in my class just a little while ago.
Right.
Oh, oh, pretty.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So some of you are I don't know how many. It's hard to say on a scale of 1 to 10. How many would you say if you would say you're a beginning one level Zoom user? Just kind of wave and let me know. Okay. How many of you would say you're maybe like a 3 or 4? You know a little bit your way around. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody like a 9 or 10 Zoom user out there?
No.
Okay. Okay, a few. Okay, great, great. All right. So we'll take a look. We've got almost everybody here, and we'll get started. Kim's posted something in chat. She'll be watching chat for me. In case you've got a question, you can use chat. If you are on a desktop computer and you look at the bottom of your screen, you will see something called reactions. And reactions gives you the ability to raise your hand, which is another way of saying you have a question. And we might mute people periodically just to keep conversations quiet. Sometimes it's these microphones from computers pick up a lot of noise. And so we have to be careful about that. I'm going to be joining my Zoom meeting myself here. And so I can show you how some things work on a tablet later on. And usually it works, but sometimes you never know with technology how things are going to work and what happens there. Okay. So now there should be Bob Cohen joining, and I'm going to change this to my my name here, make myself co-host and make myself Bob Cohen's iPad. Okay. so I know which is which. Okay, great. Okay, so welcome to Zoom Virtual Backgrounds for Beginners. Let me go through a few slides here, and then we'll pause for some questions and take a look at what we're going to be doing today. So today we're going to be looking at Zoom Virtual Backgrounds for Beginners. And what about me, I mean, a little bit, I'm from Seal Beach. I'm out in Pacific Time right now. I was born in Chicago, worked in the tech industry, owned my own internet company. About 2007, I started teaching adult education classes on technology and have been doing that really ever since about 2009 full-time, and then went part-time and joined Get Set Up back in January of this year. So we learn a lot of things in our Get Set Up meetings. Sometimes people have some interesting ideas and some things that we learn. If you want a recording after class, you can send an email to getsetup.io right here, and help@getsetup.io. If you're joining by live stream, we encourage you to go to getsetup.io, the website, and set up an account. They're free, and join us and register for a class. But we might be mentioning some products. We're not paid to promote anything by any of the products or services we mention and provide training on. Okay, so let's take a look at our agenda today. Well, part of using Zoom's virtual backgrounds is you're using Zoom, obviously, if you're in the meeting. But Zoom virtual backgrounds, like Yvonne has a good one, Patty's got one, I have one. When you use a virtual background, it's a picture that's behind you or a video, and you have to have a certain capability of computing power. Using that type of feature in Zoom does have something called a minimum hardware and software requirements. Software usually means the latest version of Zoom. And then we're going to take a look at some step-by-step slides on how to do this. And then we're going to actually take a look at my desktop and my tablet, which works pretty close to a smartphone. And then I'll show you a website or two where you can get some additional free photos for virtual backgrounds. Okay. Anybody have any questions about virtual background, Zoom, things we go to before we get started that they're hoping we'll answer today?
Bob, I'd like to know, how do you start in Zoom?
I'm sorry, Yvonne, what was that again? I'm sorry.
How do you start in Zoom?
How do you
join Zoom?
How do you join Zoom?
Well, to start the meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little bit off the topic today, but we do teach a class on Zoom, hosting meetings on Zoom. And that's what you want to know is look for the class on how to host meetings on Zoom, because in order to start a meeting, you need to be the host, okay?
Yeah, but you have to put in zoom.us something.
Not always. If you have the Zoom app and on your computer, that's kind of a topic for another class on how to start a Zoom meeting. I'd recommend you sign up for that class and learn how to do that.
Okay.
Okay. And Karen, did you have something?
Yeah, I'd like to find a Zoom background where you don't disappear in front of it.
We're going to learn about the tricks to doing that. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes it depends on a little number of factors, okay, number of things. And who had a question? Who had their hand?
I did.
Carolyn, hi, how are you?
Yeah, hi, Bob. I don't know how to get the animation in a virtual background, like a waterfall or whatever.
Okay.
Can you do that on an iPad?
I don't know if you can use video on iPad or not. I haven't checked. We're gonna use my iPad to set up virtual background.
Okay.
Remember if that's in the settings or not. And so we'll see what's necessary to do certain things in video backgrounds, okay, in virtual backgrounds, because you're asking your computer to do a lot of work when you use virtual backgrounds. And so you have to have a certain power, certain speed to your processor in virtual backgrounds. And virtual backgrounds is kind of like magic because it's making what's really behind you disappear and replacing it with a photo or a video. So it's kind of like, gee, how'd these people make that happen? Well, television studios and video producers have been doing it for a long time. And what I like to do now is kind of draw my elementary drawings pictures here. So here are you, okay? Okay, so that's not a very good head shape, but that's the best I can do today, folks. I'm sorry. And over here, you've got a webcam, okay? And the webcam is looking at you, but it also is looking at everything behind you. So maybe you've got a bookshelf, maybe you've got, you know, a sofa, maybe you've got some chairs, whatever you've got behind you. And when you normally are on camera, what you show up and what's behind you shows up, right? That's what your camera really sees. Well, the trick that software does in virtual backgrounds is it says, I want to ignore everything behind Bob. Okay, that's not a very good outline of Bob, but I'm sorry. And I want to replace this background that I really see with a photo that I found somewhere, whatever photo that is. So when it projects on the image in the video, there is a profile image of Bob, and then behind Bob is filled in with the photo, not with what's really behind him in the camera. So the software in your computer is saying, oh, you want me to ignore this stuff. Is that it? And you're saying, yes, I do. When I turn on virtual backgrounds, you're saying, I want you to ignore what's really behind me, and I want you to replace it with a picture or a video. That's what your computer is doing and your software is doing. Okay, that's what Zoom gives you when it's called virtual backgrounds. And that's why, when you see weathercasters doing the weather, they don't really have the map behind them. That's actually a video image. They have a green screen behind them, and we'll actually take a look at a green screen. So you're essentially trying to do what they do in TV studios with trying to put that type of background behind you. And if you have a fast enough computer or fast enough iPad or fast enough phone, you can do it. Okay, and it's possible to do. And when you have quality issues, they can be in different places. We'll take a look at where they might be. So that's the magic of technology. It's just amazing that people make this work. Okay. Step number 1 is Zoom virtual background requirements. There's requirements. We don't have to pass a test, but I'm going to show you the website for Zoom system requirements for virtual background. This is at zoom.us. This is the support site. You're going to get this link in the email that's going to come to you. And this article lists the requirements for using the virtual background feature in the Zoom desktop client. That's the app that runs on your computer, and the mobile app. That's the Zoom app that runs on your mobile device. Okay, so here's what the article covers: Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, and Android. You'll notice what you don't see on here is something called Chromebooks. And I apologize to anybody that has a Chromebook, but Chromebooks do not work with Zoom virtual backgrounds. Okay, they just don't work. It's just not technically possible for them to work with it. But Windows, Macs, iOS, and Android do. Okay, so, but not every Windows computer, not every Mac, not every iOS is for iPhone and iPad, not every Android. So they have these things called image only without a physical green screen, image only with a physical green screen, video without a physical green screen, and video with a physical green screen. Now I'm going to show you my green screen behind me. Okay, so let me stop sharing for a second so I can change a setting here. And I will show you that I have a real green screen behind me. See, that's a piece of green fabric I have behind me. Now, that's green makes it a little bit easier for your camera to say, what's behind Bob? Okay, because that's the question your software and your camera are asking themselves is, what's behind Bob? And if you can make it easier for the camera and the computer to do the work, you can make it easier for virtual backgrounds to work, which means you don't need as much power in your computer if you have a green screen. Okay, so I can put up pictures, I can put up videos, I can put up other things. And I'm going to show you how to change all of these, okay? But I have these possible because I have a fast enough computer to do it without a green screen, but I can do it with a green screen and it's a little bit better quality. It's a little better quality, but it works pretty well. So this is a real green screen that I have behind me, okay? So that's one of the requirements that they explain that. What is this thing about green screens? That's what they mean, a physical, real green piece of fabric. You can buy them. I'll show you in a slide. They're available for like $20, but the bright green is a color that the video camera really can sense easily and separate from all other colors in your video. So it really works well. So Windows, most people don't like to have a green screen set up, but I have a pretty easy one to put up, so I use it. So it says, for Windows, if you're using the image, a still image, not a video, without a physical green screen, you have to have a Zoom software version 2.0. You can use it on Windows 7, 8, and 10. But these are the supported processors. So you need to have a certain speed of CPU in your computer. The easiest way to find out how fast your CPU is to just look for the model number of your computer and just do a Google search. And you'll typically find the specifications on the web. And you can see, oh, hey, I have an Intel 5 4th generation, okay? And if you do, you need an Intel i3, i5, i7, i9. The numbers get bigger, the computer gets faster, but 5th generation is about 5 years old. So people with older computers or people that have computers that did not have a fast enough processor in them for whatever they bought them for might not support virtual backgrounds. And usually you'll find out they don't when you try and use virtual backgrounds for the first time. Now, virtual backgrounds is available for both the free and the paid Zoom account. So you don't have to have a paid Zoom account to use virtual backgrounds. Now, if you do have a green screen, it makes the work a little bit easier on the computer. And so it'll work with a slower computer. Okay, but you'd have to have that fabric and you'd have to check the box where I'll show you for a green screen. Now video, it's more work. Okay, it's kind of like saying, okay, instead of, I'm going to drive a car up a hill and I'm going to go 20 miles an hour with one person in the car. But if you put 2 people in the car, that slows the car down. If you put 4 people in the car, it slows it down. You are making the car do more work. When you are doing virtual backgrounds with a still image, you're doing a little bit of work. When you ask your computer to do it with video, you're asking your computer to do more work. You're putting more load on the computer, so you need a faster CPU. And this is the link. They tell you what you need to do. They list Macs as well, and they list iPads, iPhones and iPads, an iPhone 8 or iPad Pro, or a 5th and 6th generation 9.7 inch. And I think that's about 4 years old for an iPad. I'm not positive. And Android requires a pretty fast processor. Usually Android phones that are 3 years old or newer will work. Sometimes a little bit older ones work, but only certain brands work for Android with virtual background. So if you have a Google, a OnePlus, Oppo, Redmi, Samsung, Vivo, Xiaomi, or Huawei, they will work. If you have an LG phone, it's not going to work. Okay. And so in phones, it's a little bit easier to tell in the settings right away if you're going to be able to use virtual backgrounds. But I just want you to be aware that there is a technical requirement in order to make virtual backgrounds work and work well. Okay. Any questions about that? That's probably the most technical we'll get today. Okay. But I want to make sure you get all the real information. You saw my green screen, the green fabric behind me. This is what they look like. You know, I mean, you can buy just the cloth for $15 from Amazon. This was from a couple of weeks ago. Or you can get a fancy one with a roll up, or something with a stand, or something that fits on the back of a chair. And it just has to be something that your camera covers up everything your camera sees, because you're basically saying, I'm going to hide what's really behind me, but I'm going to put a piece of green, solid green color so that the camera can say, oh, everything that's green, ignore. Okay, so that makes it easier. That's what a green screen is. They aren't expensive. So sometimes your computer will work with a green screen, but it won't work without a green screen. So a green screen is sometimes cheaper than an upgrade on your computer. But I know people that have upgraded their computers to use it with Zoom virtual backgrounds because they do a lot of Zoom.
Bob, I have a question. So does that mean that I can go to like Joann Fabric and buy a large piece of green fabric? And will that do the same?
As it will. Make sure it is as bright fluorescent green as possible. Okay. If you know, some people have used tablecloths, you know, but the brighter the green, the better. Just want to make sure it's really bright green as opposed to dull or with any gray in it or anything like that. Because it just makes you, but yeah, you can go to Joann's and buy a piece of fabric. Make sure it's wide enough. Usually they're about, I'm measuring arm length to arm length. Okay, fingertip to fingertip, which is, I don't know how to measure that, but that's probably what, 5 or 6 feet wide. And you need it a certain, you know, just high enough. You want to basically use it to cover everything your camera would see behind you is all. And then you got to find a place to hang it. But if you can hang it on, you know, by a window or something, whatever you got to find out to hang it with is probably usually the most difficult part of using it. But yeah, you can go to Joann's and, you know, or get it. I don't know if you can get it any less expensive than something like Amazon, but yeah, I mean, you can go and find a green screen.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Lori. Sure.
Bob, what is the CPU? I have a MacBook Air. I have to find the CPU. I think I've been through this before. I mean, I was able to do one background, but I don't think it's high enough. What is the CPU that's needed?
Well, in Macs, for an image only without a physical green screen, it says you need a i5 2-core 6th generation or higher, or an i7. I think most MacBook Airs come, if it's an older one, 6th generation. We're in the 11th generation of Intel CPU. So each generation is a year. So a year ago it was 10th, a year ago it was 9th, a year later or 8th, 7th, 6th. So if your MacBook Air is like less than 5 years old, it's probably okay. But sometimes the video camera doesn't work. It isn't as good a quality as you might need. So there's a couple of things that can help make it work better. But a 3 or 4 year old MacBook Air should work according to this. Okay.
Okay, well, it worked, but it was like wavy. I don't know.
That can be some other factors. Yeah. Now sometimes that happens with some other things. We'll talk about lighting, and we'll talk about one of the advantages of a green screen is it makes it easier for your camera to tell you from the background. And Carol, thanks for posting in chat that you can paint a wall chroma key green. That's actually the technical name for the color. So if you felt like buying green paint, chroma key is the exact color that the camera can pick up and use that you want to use. So just an average green is not going to work as well as a chroma key green. And paint stores will know that. A good paint store will know that. But sometimes your lighting makes a difference. So the amount of lighting, I actually have 200 watts of lighting in front of me right now. I have 2 lamps and actually 3 lamps with each of them with a 100-watt lamp and light in front of me. So having a lot of light in front of you helps. Having a good quality webcam works, and most of them on laptops are okay, but you can get better webcams if you buy an accessory webcam. They tend to do a little better job than what some standard with computer laptops. They have better resolution, and Macs are notorious for not giving us really good quality webcams with our Macs compared to what we would like to get for the price we paid for the computer. Okay, how do you make this work? A couple of ways. Okay, on desktops, we're going to cover desktops first, and then I've got my iPad next to me. We're going to take a look at the mobile type first. If you're not in a meeting, okay, you can open up the Zoom app from your desktop, and then you can click on the settings gear, and you get access to the settings, and you can select backgrounds and filters. And you can see what ones might be included with your Zoom account if they have it, or if you can see the plus button, you can add it. Sometimes people get a message saying your computer doesn't support virtual backgrounds. Okay, some versions of Zoom seem to be able to tell people that. So that's one way, is just opening up the Zoom app and going to the settings gear. That will help you out. Another way is to start a new meeting anytime. Whenever you're not in a meeting, you can open up the Zoom app on your computer, your desktop, your laptop, your iPhone, your Android phone, and start a meeting. You do have to be logged in to your Zoom account. So you do need a Zoom account at zoom.us, but you open up the app, and when you click on new meeting, it's just you in the meeting. And so it's free, it doesn't cost anything. And when you start the meeting, you get access to all of the meeting controls you see when you're normally in a meeting. It's just that you're the only one in the meeting, that's all. That's probably the easiest way to do it, I think. So when you're in a new meeting on the desktop, again, when you see at the bottom your microphone and your video camera icon in the lower left, there's a little arrow pointing up next to the camera. And if you click on that, it will give you the ability to choose virtual background. Now, this is a point at which some people get a message saying your computer doesn't support virtual backgrounds. Okay, so it happens sometimes in that case. But if it does give you the ability to select it, then you'll go to another screen that will show you this settings automatically. And then if you see some virtual backgrounds, Zoom includes a few. It may say none, as well. So it may say that you don't have any virtual backgrounds available. And maybe if you click on I have a green screen, it then lets you use it because your computer just might be fast enough to use it with a green screen, but too slow to use it without. So sometimes that can make a difference. But to add a virtual background, so if you don't like any of these, you can click the plus button, select add image, and select any picture you have in your computer. You just have to know where to find it. That's all. That's usually the hardest part, oddly enough, is knowing where to find pictures on your computer. So that's desktop, and that's how it works. Okay, we're going to walk through that. I'm going to show you my full desktop. I'm going to show you exactly how it works every step of the way. Okay. Now, on mobile devices, it works a little bit different because the menu for Zoom is a little bit different. You can start a meeting with the mobile app anytime. And what you want to look for are the 3 dots on the tabs that say more. When you tap that on either your iPad, your iPhone, or your Android phone, it'll bring up the options that are available for your device. And one of those options will say background in it. Might say virtual background, it might say background filters, but it will say background. And that's all you need to use. Then you'll be able to select it. Now, when you do it on a mobile device for the first time, it will ask you, Zoom, your device will say, Zoom wants permission to view your photos. Zoom needs to be able to get to your photos in order to, the Zoom app, not Zoom the company, but the Zoom app needs to be able to view your photos in order for you to select a photo for your virtual background, because it's going to pull the photo from the Photos app on your device. Okay, that's where it's going to find the photos. So any photo you have that is in your Photos application on your device is where it's going to find them. Make sense so far? Okay. The
Yes.
steps is pretty easy. Okay, so let's go through. Could I spell out the name of the green color that spells it actually is called chroma key, and you spelled it right. I think it might be one word, but you spelled it right. Chroma key. Okay. Like Chrome, the browser, right? Chroma is what it is. Okay, so let's take a look and share my whole screen with everybody, okay? And see how technology works today. Never know, technology is always a surprise. Okay, so if I share my whole desktop, now what you see is the gallery, okay? And you see my Zoom controls. You see more than what you see because I am the host, okay? But next in the lower corner here of my Zoom window, I'm moving my mouse in a circle, is the video camera. And next to that video camera is a little arrow, up arrow, tiny, tiny arrow. I'm going to click on that. You can do this on your computer at the same time if you want. Okay, then I get this menu that pops up and says, choose virtual background in it. So I'm going to click on choose virtual background, and voila, okay, you get to see me in this image here on virtual backgrounds. Sometimes it'll say none, okay, but sometimes there's usually a blur option that's available. Now, obviously with a green screen, it's not going to do much. And they sometimes include a San Francisco picture, some grass, space picture, and a few videos. Okay, sometimes they do that. So if you see none and it doesn't work, right, you can always say, what happens if I click, I have a green screen? Then does it work? And maybe it will work better. Now, I have a green screen right now. Now, if you look at my glasses, you can see as I turn my head, it still shows the blue background behind my glasses. If I don't use a green screen, you'll see that something disappears on the side. So the green screen actually improves the quality of the virtual background no matter what you do. So if you're looking for really the best quality effect you can, but having a green screen can help a slower computer work better. Oh, Tracy, you got your virtual background set up. Great. Okay. So I see some of you are trying this out now. So what happens if you don't have a fast enough computer? Well, you end up with hazing and kind of a little funny haze around your hair or around the edges. It can't make out the edges as well. And it also can't make out things. Okay, now because I have a green screen, when I move my hand in and out, it looks accurate. If I turn off my green screen and I try and move my hand, you can see I get a little waving motion there. It breaks up a little bit. So the camera, the software has to work really, really hard because it has to make out who I am from my background. And the more movement I have, the more contrasting colors I have. You can see the little edge of the chair on this side. It sometimes shows up and sometimes doesn't. And so that's because the computer is working really hard to make sure that it separates me from what's in back of me. If I have a green screen, I can do things really easily here because I'm making the computer work a lot less. And so it's easier for me to do things, which is why in television studios and movie production and things like that, they use a real green screen, okay? And you can use a different color, but green's just not a very common color for clothing. But if you were doing an Irish St. Patrick's Day theme and you were wearing green, you would disappear with the background as well. So then you might want to use a different color green screen. Usually screen fabrics, sometimes they have a blue on one side and green on the other. Okay, so this is my get set up slide, that is my virtual background for get set up, but I can click on this plus button here. It's tiny, I know, I'm sorry about that, but I can't make it bigger. If I click on the plus button and then I click on add image, it pulls up my file folders on my computer. So I just have to find where on my computer I've got a photo I want to use. And I did make up a folder, and I do recommend you make up a folder for backgrounds, okay? And so by using a photo for backgrounds, I can find something pretty easily. So if I wanted to use a tiger photo, I can use a tiger and I can click open and it changes it to a tiger. So that's how I select pictures. Now, once I've selected it, it's here in my selection to choose from anytime I want to. And it'll usually 99% of the time, it'll be the virtual background that you use whenever you leave Zoom and come back into Zoom, okay? But for some reason, every so often, it doesn't show up exactly the same one. It disappears. So I don't know why that is, but like 1 out of 100 meetings, it'll happen to me where I don't end up with the same virtual background. But I can use, if I want a bookshelf background, you can think, well, hey, that Bob's at a great office, right? That's just a picture, right? Or Bob's in the mountains, right? No, that's a picture. So, it gives you the effect of what you might want. Or if you want to give people the effect you're on the beach and the video and the wind's blowing, right? Whatever you want. Or I found this video where it's just some branches, blowing in the wind. Or if you want to get a classroom, picture, say, hey, I'm in the classroom, right? So that the virtual background can be now some great ideas. I mean, what if you have somebody's birthday party coming up and you want to show a birthday cake in the background, right, for their birthday? You can do things like that with virtual backgrounds. In fact, looks like somebody does. Patty's got got an image there for on our background. Okay, so that is the desktop. Let me go through that one more time. We look at your Zoom controls, go to the video camera, click on the little arrow next to the camera, click on choose virtual background, and then select whatever one you want, or go to the plus, add image, and find a photo on your computer, okay? And that's all you need to do. So this was a garden one I found, and I'll show you a website where you can find pictures for virtual backgrounds too. Okay, any questions so far? That's the desktop. Okay. Now let me try an experiment here. Well, it's not really an experiment. I've done it. It usually works, but every so often I have to make it work better. And sometimes it doesn't do what I need to do. So I'm looking down at my iPad right now because I'm going to try sharing the screen of my iPad so you can see where these controls are on my device. Okay, so now I am sharing the screen on my iPad. All right, so what you see, I can't point to it exactly, but you can see my image is on my iPad, the one in the lower right-hand corner. It's not quite as sharp as the one on the right side because that's my iPad camera. It's not as good a webcam as the one I have on my computer monitor. Okay. So sometimes the camera makes a difference in the quality of the image that you see. Okay, so what I'm looking at right now is along the top of my screen that says where it says Zoom and it says join audio and start video and stop share and participants. There are 3 dots. See those 3 dots? Okay, in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to tap on that. And I can't show you while I'm tapping, but I'm going to tap on that. A menu pops up, okay, that says background and filters. So I want to select background and filters now. Okay, so the camera is pointing up at me, so I'm going to change the angle a little bit here. And the first time you do this, this will tell you that Zoom needs permission to access your photos. And so you want to give Zoom permission to access your photos. Then you can go to your photo album and pick them. Now on the mobile app, they don't give you any standard background. So you'll have to tap the plus button and then you have to pick a photo from the background. So this was a beach scene I picked. I select that from my photo. I tap done. And now that becomes my virtual background on my iPad. And once it's there, I can switch back and forth between that photo and other photos because they're already done. Okay. And I can even use a get setup one here. Now the iPad does have an option for I have a green screen, but I'm looking here and I do not see any option for video. Okay, I don't know whether if I added a video it would work or not. I don't have one ready to add, but it might work. I don't know, but you could try and see if you can add a video or if it just lets you add a still image, a photo. When I'm done, I tap on the X in the upper right-hand corner. And so on iPhones and iPads and Android phones, you would tap the More button, and that would let you access the background and filters, and then you would use a photo from your device. Now, one thing that I learned when I first did this class was I learned that just because you set up a virtual background on your desktop doesn't mean that image is on your iPhone or iPad. Each device has to be done independently of each other. Okay. And the reason is that I found out why. It's because the virtual background photo actually comes from whichever device you use. So if you're using your laptop, the photos on your laptop. If you're using your iPad, the photos on your iPad. If you're using your Android phone, the photos on your Android phone. And so the photo is not kept in the web. The photo is on your specific device. And so that's where Zoom gets the virtual background picture from when it uses it. Okay. So probably some of you are, well, I'm not a great photographer, Bob. Where do I find photos on, that I can use for virtual backgrounds? Well, there's a couple of sites. We actually had a class on finding free photos on the internet, but I'm going to share one website for you, and we're actually going to use it to find photos on the internet. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. Let's see if I can share my full screen, because I want to share everything with you. And now you should see my whole screen. Now I'm going to move this over a little bit. And there's my slide. Here's my tab on my browser. I'm going to open up a website I know works. And you're going to get a link to this website. It's one called Pexels.com, spelled P-E-X-E-L-S. Okay. And it's a website that offers free photos for downloads. Okay. So I'm going to make this big and cover up everything. Okay. So it shows up there. Okay. So if I want to find a photo, okay, I need an idea for a photo. Anybody have an idea for a photo that they would like to use for a virtual background that they'd like to see? We can go beach, we can go mountain, we can go lake.
Waterfall.
Waterfall, okay. Okay, let me find a waterfall picture, okay? Let's see, so I just tap in the search box here and I can search for waterfall. And this will find still pictures. I could use videos, but I'm going to use a still picture first. So this is all the waterfalls I can find. Now it is a little better to use one that's wider than it is tall. So because sometimes the image will show up better in virtual backgrounds. So this is a nice one here, okay? So let's take this one. I have a little download link here that I can click on. It's small, but there's a little arrow pointing down. If I click on that, watch, there's going to be a little box that's going to kind of swing over into my download folder. And it wants to, let's find out what's going on here. Okay. Maybe this is, I'm not sure why it's not letting me download this. Okay, it's making me to a different site. That's why. So let's try this one. Okay, there it is. This one, I can say thanks to Joe. These are free. I'll give her credit for, thank you, Joe Cassis. And, but it's already downloaded in my download folder here. Well, I actually did download that other one. It actually downloaded. So here's this one. I like to drag them out of my download folder and put them on the desktop just so they're easier to find for me. So now what I need to do is I need to go to Zoom, find the video camera, click the up arrow and say choose virtual background. Okay. And then I want to click on the plus button, add image. And I found that this was on it's on my desktop. Actually, I remember it was Joe Cassis. That one is one I clicked on. So I'm going to open that. And now it changes to my virtual background. Okay. And if I wanted the other waterfall, which actually did download, I didn't realize it downloaded. This one is the other waterfall picture that's in the background. So you can use, Pexels. There's a lot of other sites as well, and other things. So what happens if you're looking at a video? The videos loop. So they do have the feature in Pexels to download a video. So let's see if we can find a waterfall that is a video here. Let me go up here. There's 1.26 videos. Okay. And so this is a video. Okay. Another video. Another video. This one looks kind of interesting. Let's see if I can download this. Now, I will tell you, sometimes videos don't work because they're too big. Okay. So I downloaded this video. So now I want to go to my Zoom controls, go to stop video. Let me get it out of my download folder. It's still downloading. It's a big video. I don't think it'll work in Zoom. It seems like it might be too big. Okay, so sometimes Zoom will tell you that the video is too big, but we'll see if it's going to work or not. Okay, so let me select, choose virtual background, plus add video. So this is the video I downloaded. It might be too big. We don't know. We'll find out very quickly. Yes, videos exceeds the maximum allowed resolution. It's too big. So I have to find a smaller video. Well, I happen to know that another website has a little bit easier to find videos. It's called Pixabay. Their videos tend to be a little smaller sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to go there and I'm going to find a waterfall and I'm going to select videos. Okay, so this one is, this one's a short one. I think this one will probably work. It's only 10 seconds. So if I click on this, I can download it and we will see what happens. Okay. So now I go to here. Let's see if it's in my download folder. Yes, it is. It downloaded quickly. So it's a smaller video. It will probably work. Okay. So now I go to my Zoom screen, click on choose virtual background, select add video. And here's the waterfall I downloaded. It's a small file. It will probably work. Okay, so sometimes there it worked right away. And it just loops over and over and over again automatically. So that's one of the drawbacks of virtual background videos is that sometimes you can find a video you like, but the video file is just too big a file for Zoom. It doesn't like it. And so if you have video editing software, you can edit it and cut it down. But if you don't, you'd have to just try, find a smaller video. And usually in the download information, they give some detail on how big the file is. You just want to use a small one. So now I've got a waterfall behind me and I'm looking at it on my iPad. Looks like I'm right on top of that waterfall, doesn't it?
Thank you. That was really nice.
So that
I might try that.
like I say, with the video, it's just a little challenging to find, the right size video file. If it's too big a video, but a small video works. And you can use your own videos too. I mean, if you take a short video of your on your phone, or you can get, as long as you can get to the photo or the video somewhere on your computer or your iPad or your phone, you just have to be able to find it, and you can use it for a virtual background. So I take pictures, and I've taken some pictures of things like the Rose Parade. So let's see if I've got my Rose Parade. Here's a picture I took at the Rose Parade about 1.5 years ago, the last one they had recently. And so I was right in front of the floats, and this is what they look like, right when you're really sitting close to them. They're just amazing. So you can use your own picture as well. And I see, Tracy, you've learned how to rotate yourself. Okay. In the upper, when you're looking at this screen and you see a little, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a rotate button that you can use to rotate yourself. It rotates you. If on the desktop, there is something called Mirror My Video. look at the Get Setup logo, and I'm going to click on that. It reverses everything. So on your desktop, you can use this mirror function, but on your phone or iPad, you have to fix the picture first in the Photos app, and then it will work on your virtual background. Okay. Okay. Any questions about that we've done so far? Quite a lot of things to learn about virtual backgrounds, huh? And now what's going to happen? Let me share a whiteboard here and just try and draw as best I can what's happening on the screen here. So you've got your background, you've got what's really in behind you. So you might have, like I say, furniture, you might have objects, whatever behind you. And then you've got you sitting at a desk in a chair, and you've got, you know, your face is here, and then you've got your camera looking at all of this. Okay. And your camera is trying to figure out what's behind you. What don't I want to show behind you? And so your computer is just doing a lot of work. So a couple of things affect that. One is lighting. Okay, so the more light you have facing you, so if you have light that's coming at you from the right direction, it has to come to you from this direction. You want light, a lot of light on you, that helps. The other is your webcam. Okay, and so sometimes the quality of your webcam on your computer, if there's one thing computer companies tend to do, it's to cut back on the quality of the webcam they include as part of the built-in, but some are pretty good. Okay, some are good, but an accessory webcam can make a difference. So if you're trying to get virtual backgrounds working and you're discovering your computer is not fast enough, or it's not really doing the right job for you, don't go and upgrade your computer first. Try adding some lighting in front of you, because if you have lighting behind you, it's terrible. That makes it really hard for the computer to tell. So if you have a window behind you or bright light behind you, that's going to make it difficult no matter what you do. So having a plain background, you can actually select a color. So if you have a plain white wall, for example, like Ellen, I see you have a white wall behind you. If you can actually change the color you want it to eliminate. So if it's just white or blue or, you know, beige or whatever, you can just click on color on your screen and you can say, this is what I want you to eliminate. It doesn't have to be green, just green works best. And then, so try lighting, try webcam, and then if all else fails, then, you know, upgrading your computer is the last thing. It's the most expensive solution, but it does work ultimately, right? So I see some people have got some background. Karen in Ann Arbor, you've got that tropical or just a forest? I can't. Okay. And Tracy, you've got the ocean. Yvonne, you've got your beach scene there. So you can try different things out for virtual backgrounds. And like I say, just a theme. And like say, if Lori, I see you're getting a little fading in and out, it's probably the speed of your computer or the lighting, you know, that might be affecting that. That's what causes those types of things, unfortunately. But it works for a lot of things. So let me, do you think you can try this out? I know some of you have already tried it out now. Patty, you got a virtual background, and, you know, more lighting in front of you will help you a little bit. So these are things that can make a big difference. So let me find out what I did with my slides here. Okay, there I go, because I have to wrap up some things for us. Okay, so sharing this. Okay, so let's talk about our system here. Okay, so the summary, you learned about system requirements. You're going to get a link in the email. There's a couple of different ways to do it, both for desktops, a couple of websites for free photos. There doesn't seem to be any limit of things you can learn about Zoom these days. And so it often becomes real challenging to figure out what to do and how to make it work. And then take advantage of the notes you're going to get, some recommendations, give us some feedback. If you'd like to see more, let us know. We appreciate that. Thank you to our TA for helping us out today. We appreciate that, Kim, and monitoring chat. Now, when you register for a class, you can invite a friend. It's a new feature we put in Zoom that's available to you as well. And if you got an idea for a class and you want to join the community, you can always request a recording at help@getsetup.io. Request a recording anytime you need help or information or want to communicate with Get Set Up. help@getsetup.io is the email for everything. And so we have time for a few questions. And if you need to go off to dinner, bed, run an errand, whatever, because I know we have a lot of different time zones here. But thank you all for coming. And I'm glad to see people tried out some virtual backgrounds too. That's great. But anybody have any questions before we wrap up? Myrna, go ahead. I'll go ahead and unmute yourself, Myrna.
Where did you say we had to go to get Zoom, the Zoom app?
Zoom.us. Well,
Zoom.
you're on your iPad. If you go to the App Store, and on the App Store and your iPad, where you just go there and look for and go to Zoom and just type Zoom. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. And Lori, you have a question.
Do you think that you saw the quality that I didn't have? If I got the green screen, would it be better?
Probably. Your computer is probably right on the edge of being able to do it without a green screen. If you had a green screen, it would improve it. But I would check first to see how fast your process, what model CPU you have, and check it against Zoom's virtual requirements. Or if you do get a green screen, order it somewhere where if it doesn't work out, you can return it. Okay. Because that happens with technologies. Things don't always work right the first time. But a green screen would make it easier. It makes it easier for any type of virtual background solution.
Thanks.
Okay, great. Well, try it out. Thank you for everything. Thanks for your comments. Appreciate it. Look for the email follow up on everything. And thanks for joining us at Get Set Up, and I'll hope to see you in another class soon. Okay. Thanks everyone.
Bob.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bob.
You.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.